So, this week's assignments. Number 1, watch the course introduction, which I hope you've already done. Number 2 is to listen to this introduction, which you've already done. Number 3, make sure you go through all the Blackboard clicks on the course and the requirements. Make sure you know where you're going. You're watching this introduction. You're going to watch the tutorials on information literacy. You're going to do the weekly readings, and you're going to create a presentation of your identity and post it to Blackboard. Watch other people's introductions and respond to a few of them. And then finally, at the end of the first module, email me your first journal reflection. Everyone is inundated with data from a wide variety of sources. Information flies at us constantly. But what is useful information and what's just someone's opinion, or worse, someone's attempt to manipulate you? The ability to sort through this tidal wave of data is what we call critical information literacy. Information literacy is important for everyone, but it's especially an important management and leadership skill, and it involves 2 elements. First, where do you locate information that you need? How do you find it? And second, how do you evaluate the quality of the information you have accessed? There is too much stuff out there in our world. Please do not believe something simply because it is on the web or tweeted or posted to somebody's news feed or website. You need to evaluate what you read in the same way you evaluate what any random person says. Why should you believe this piece of information is true or false? That's the concept of critical information literacy. You need to be able to push through your own biases and preconceptions to objectively evaluate the information. You need to rigorously monitor yourself and your reactions and reflect on these to avoid biases. The source of information matters. Who's saying it and what legitimacy does that source have? Think about who is giving this information and why they are saying it. The CSUSB file library has several tutorials on information literacy that you should work through. They won't take long, but they're quite helpful. This week's readings are about the breadth and depth of concepts and terminology related to diversity. Read the Rice textbook, Chapter 1, and then review the website readings. Each week I assign a lot of different readings. Some are brief and some longer. You've got to take the time to go through them. You will learn more and benefit more to the extent you put in the time. If you want to gain from this, it's your responsibility. Like any other class, what you get out of it depends on what you put in. There are a number of articles in this course that are from the CSUSB online library databases. Please don't skip an article because you've never used the library. It's easy. Please learn how to access articles in the database. Ask for help if you need it. As you go through these readings, plan to devote 5 to 6 hours for your readings. And let me talk about that again. Your readings, I know there's some of you are not going to get through it all. You're going to have to be conscious of the time, and if you're not getting through them, start to scan them. Start to look through them so you're at least familiar with them. So I'm not wanting to overload you with time because you read differently. Spend the time though. Spend the 5 to 6 hours that this class should be dedicated to readings. In your Blackboard discussions and your journal reflections, you're going to want to refer to them. This week, you have 2 deliverables, a video introduction and your first reflective journal entry. In most classes, we ask students to introduce themselves. I want you to do this with a video or some other multimedia effort. First, just give your name and where you work, if you're employed, where you live, share some pictures, but then share how you see yourself. Be creative. What's your identity? You know, our first reaction tends to be it's around family or relationship. I'm mother, father, sister, brother, son, parent, and then it's about jobs and hobbies, and that's fine. These are important, but there's other aspects to your identity. What do others see when they look at you, especially if they don't know who you are? How do their reactions impact you? Do they shape your feelings about yourself? And make no mistake, they do. You're fooling yourself if you say other people's opinions don't matter. Our self-image is constructed in large part by other people's and society's norms and reactions. Post this introduction by Friday night, September 29th, early if possible, but get it up at least by Friday the 29th, and then over the weekend, look at other people's postings. You don't have to comment, but if you choose to do so respectfully to each of the sharings going on by your fellow students. And finally, Sunday night, write up your first reflective journal entry. This is a private communication between you and me. You talk about the week's readings and class activities and how they impacted you. This isn't just a summary. What was new? What made you think? What past experiences did the readings remind you of? What did you disagree with? How did you react to doing whatever assignment was assigned or to discussions? And I'm not going to share this with anyone. It's just your self-reflection to me. While I will not comment on individual journal entries, I expect you to go through some depth of insight and introspection and thought, and you will be graded on this. You can see the rubric listed in the class rubrics assignments website. I expect you to note specific readings. Please don't do your journal entry early in the week because you haven't had time to read everything. Wait until the end of the week when you've done all the readings and seen other students' contributions. Okay, so on to week one.